Good morning, teacher and classmate. Teacher, today I'm going to present you about the first speaking test that is associated to the last video that we presented in class. In my video, is speaking about the word of a criminalistic. First of all, we need to know what is about the job. The job of a criminalistic is the job, or is the person in charge of going to go to a crime scene and recollect the different evidence that may be of any case. For example, footprints, DNA traces, or some other things. For example, they giving example the bullet and things like that. They work is exclusively to do that. It's not exclusively to do that. They also work at the laboratory where they spend the most of the time doing the analysis of the different evidence. Each piece of evidence is not as fast as it usually is represented in TV series. It's not that fast. It takes at least from 2 to 3 days or even a week or a month. Next, we are going to speak about the knowledge that is needed to work as a criminalistic. First of all, you need to have a very big knowledge in the aspect of the biology. You need to have a knowledge in the biology because mostly of the knowing of identify the DNA traces and match it with other suspects or discovered by that. But it's not exclusively that. For example, if the biology is not limited to the human body, it also have relationship with the environment. Giving an example, if a body if a corpse is left at a green area, you may have to identify what impact had in the environment, and given that information, you can develop information about the corpse. It's not always that you can do that, but you can do it sometimes. Living, for example, in the action that the animals do with the body. Or for example, if the body was eaten by an animal, for example an ant, you can estimate the time of death with the time that it have they have been eaten or something like that. Next of all, you need to have a knowledge about chemistry, because it's usually think that it will be limited to thinking about if the body died of venom or things like that. But it may also be for knowing the time of the decomposition of a body, or if it was used chemical for the preservation of the body for simulate more extend the time or things like that. Last one will be the most obvious, the forensic science. The forensic science are about for example, analyzing the seizure of a feed, like it will be represented in the last video, or will be also for identifying, for example, the fingerprints, and also to analyze the DNA, the blood or things like that. Lastly, we're going to speak about the job time. How many time do you have to do with a work? It maintains the logically of 8 hours of work per day. But for example, what do you do in your work time? When it is an active case that you are working in it, you will work logically in that, and that is what you must do all the time, because the work of a criminalistic is not exclusive for homicide. For example, in a robbery, you will need to have a criminalistic for identifying the fingerprints, and even in mostly all the crimes for things like that. Every piece of evidence needs to be analyzed by a criminalistic. But when you have a little bit of when a criminalistic have, for example, that is not working an active case, for example, giving example that it will be also solved, or that anybody else is working at it, you maybe will work in in unsolved case. For example, in a case that you're working but it couldn't be solved a long time ago. And if the case is extremely important, you will also be required to work extra hours. You will give an extra payment, but you will work more hours. Finally, of all, we are going to show you a little bit video about an example of the analysis of the work of linguistic.
Shoe mark comparison is one of those disciplines. When we find a shoe mark that's been left at a crime scene, we record that shoe mark, and if an offender is apprehended at a later stage with some shoes, or they locate a pair of shoes, we can then conduct a comparison to determine if that was the shoe that left that shoe mark at the scene. As crime scene investigators, we have to be non-biased, so we need to think about the possibility that the suspect didn't commit this crime, and if there's any evidence that might show that. We can't go in thinking, okay, we've got an offender, we've got to prove that that offender did this crime. We need to go in thinking, okay, what has happened at this scene? As we're working along, we'll throw some hypotheses around. Could this have happened because of this? What physical evidence is here that can prove that? If we find anything, we'll record it, collect it, interpret it, and look at it later. We might have to then do further examinations on it, such as DNA evidence, which one of the forensic scientists that we work with will do that for us. It doesn't just start and finish at the crime scene.
Ya está.